Okay, in this video, we go over one of the 7 tools of quality. We're going to go over the check sheets. And a check sheet is a way to collect data, but once you have the data, how can we use it to generate histograms and Pareto charts? And we're going to do that in Excel. So here's some data that's been collected, and what it is, it shows a part. So there's the parts, and they always start with an A or B because the A or the B tells the location. And we have an indicator if the part is good or if it's bad. So most of these are good, but occasionally they're rejected. And if they're rejected, the reason why they're rejected. And we've got it looks like about 500 data points, 500 parts. This is the part type. Again, the prefix or the A or the B or the location that it's made. So there's a location B and a location A. If it's good or bad, and then if it's bad, the reason why. So let's build a histogram of this. If I click over in this world and do a pivot table, it grabs all of the data, and I'm going to bring my reject reason down here and my OK or reject there, and since both of these are text, I'm also going to just drop like that. So just like that, I'm able to see in my 500 things, 117 of them are bad, and what happens most often is that incompletes happen more often. The misshapen doesn't happen very often, so I probably don't need to investigate or try to improve this first. I need to focus on the most important thing, or that happens the most, and it looks like this is what happens the most. Now I could draw a picture of this. So when I click on the pivot table under Analyze Pivot Chart, I can put that together. And it's not terribly interesting yet because it's showing all of the good stuff. But I'm going to filter this where I'm only showing the bad stuff. So now I'm looking at rejects, and again, the incomplete shows the most. This is a histogram. I have my categories down at the bottom, and I got a frequency distribution, and I draw a picture of that. If I sort this from high to low, so I'm going to go over here to these numbers, I'm going to right click and do a sort high to low or largest to smallest. That is a histogram. A Pareto chart. It is a histogram, but it's a subset of a histogram called a Pareto chart. A Pareto chart shows the most important problems here and the least in problems there. Almost always the top 1 or 2 have most of the problems. So out of the 117 problems, about 70 of those, well over half, are those two. Or even on this one, it's almost half of the problems are due to this. So if you're going to try to improve the system, reduce mistakes, focus on what causes incompletes, don't worry about misshapens. Let's cut the data one more time. I also want to look at mistakes by part location, or which location. But I've got some A's and some B's. So if I go back to and try to bring in part as a classification, so I'm going to get rid of let me put this over here, pull this out, and bring in part like that. Well, that's a mess because it's got every part, and I only want to see just my A's and B's combined. I don't want to see the A's and B's, and I can't group, so I'm sort of stuck. So how can I do something better than this? Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start over. I'm going to go back to this, and what I'm going to do is add a new column in my data set, call it location. And so what I want to do is tease this out. So I want this to be a B, and this to be a B, and this to be a B, and this to be an A. But I don't want to have to type those in. That would take forever. So how can we use Excel to do it for us? There's a nice handy formula in Excel. These are text formulas. There's one called the left function. The left function will look at a text and it will grab from the left hand side how many characters, and I just want one. So it's going to grab this, the leftmost character. And there you go. There's also a function called right, and then there's a function called mid. Mid will find anywhere in a text and return something. So pretty useful tools. Now that I have this, I can go back and do my pivot table. And now I'm going to bring my location and my rejection. Let's yeah, something like that. Actually, let's go the other way. Let's put this here, this, yeah, and let's drop in something that we want to. Let's do a count, so it doesn't make any difference which one we drop in. And let's draw a picture of it. And again, I don't want to see the OKs. That's not important to me. So I'm going to get rid of the OKs. Just show the rejects. So there is the data, and you can. What I noticed is that at location A, we have a lot more incompletes than location B. The other ones, they're not as far. They're the difference between A and B, A and B, A and B, and A and B isn't too bad, but this one is bad. Let's go ahead and do a sort. Sort by there we go. Now we're sorting by plant A or location A. I could sort by location B. There's not much difference. But you can see incomplete is the one that happens most often, but location A has the most. So if I'm going to try to improve, I want to focus on getting rid of incompletes, and I would probably start with location A first. Okay, thanks.